Here is a line I will never forget. Mommy, you be the idiot and I'll be the crocodile. This was January of 1988. My daughter Marie was 4 years old. We found out that she had special needs and cognitive disabilities about a year before that. And then, although her behavior became very difficult at times, she would still say some really funny things. So, one day in 1988, she said, "Mommy, let's play." My wife said, "Okay." And Marie said, "You be the idiot, I'll be the crocodile." We have no idea what that means to this day, but it is a line I will never forget. There have been others. One time she was obviously having a really great day, and I said, "Marie, you're in a good mood today." She said, "I've sucked the lemon out of life." And then there was the time I shaved off my beard and mustache, and she looked at me and said, "Daddy, I like your mustache without it." My sweet, wounded, brilliant daughter is a master of the one-liner. Like Jesus. Jesus was a great rabbi, a teacher of wit and wisdom. Sometimes he told stories. We call them parables, and they're easy to remember. Sometimes he would speak just one memorable line, like, "Whoever is without sin may throw the first stone." Or, "Why do you look at the speck in your neighbor's eye and pay no attention to the log in your own eye?" Or, "It's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for someone who is rich to enter the kingdom of heaven." These great one-liners are called aphorisms by scholars, but whatever you call them, they're easy to remember. So today, I want to back up 3 weeks. In the reading from Matthew's Gospel 3 weeks ago, there was a great one-liner I didn't get to talk about because I was talking about other stuff. So I want to pay attention to it today. Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. Once you understand this line, it's both unexpected and memorable. Number 1, the amount of flour is unexpected. 3 measures of flour may not seem obvious, but it's a lot of flour. In Hebrew, this would be an ephah of flour, and that's about a bushel. That's a lot of flour, and that's going to make a whole lot of bread. So Jesus says the kingdom of heaven is not a little snack. It is a feast. It's generous. It is a lavish sharing of bread. Number 2, the yeast is kind of unexpected. Yeast is what makes dough rise, of course. But when Jesus uses this image, it's a little edgy. You see, in the Hebrew Bible, what we call the Old Testament, yeast was a sign of wickedness or uncleanness. And that's why unleavened bread, bread without yeast, matzah bread, is such a big deal in the Jewish tradition. You might even remember that Jesus once said, "Beware of the yeast of the Pharisees." In other words, beware of their influence. So here, Jesus uses this image of yeast, which is a little out of bounds, a little questionable, to show how God works. It's unexpected. And number 3, while Jesus is talking about the kingdom of heaven, his image of God is pretty unexpected as well. In this one-liner, God is a baker, and a woman baker at that. Very unexpected. God is a baker who mixes up a lavish amount of wonderful bread. Sure, Jesus calls God Abba, Father, But he also pictures God as a baker who knows what she's doing. I think of this when I watch my wife bake her wonderful bread. I think of this every week as our faithful bakers make us delicious loaves for our Sunday Eucharist. Now, I am glad to be part of a Christian church which celebrates the power of both males and females. I'm glad that the little girls in our church are growing up with women who are leaders and deacons and priests and bishops. For that matter, I'm glad the boys are growing up seeing that as well. I want my granddaughters and my grandson to grow up seeing female bishops, like our own bishop right now. In fact, I can already tell you which of my twin granddaughters is going to grow up and be a bishop. I can see it already. Women were leaders in the Jesus movement from the beginning. Women were part of the inner circle of Jesus from the start. The earliest churches were house churches, and we think some of them were led by women. Sadly, but predictably, within 100 years, the men took over all the leadership roles in the church. And it has taken us almost 2,000 years to recover from this hijacking. It has taken us almost 2,000 years to get to the point we can say, male and female, God created them. Male and female, we ordained them. It's taken us almost 2,000 years to get back to the spirit of this woman baker. The kingdom of heaven is like yeast that a woman took and mixed in with 3 measures of flour until all of it was leavened. The woman is unexpected. She is a sign that God works in more than one gender. The yeast is unexpected. It is a sign that God works with things and people once considered out of bounds. The huge amount of flour is unexpected. It's a sign that God's table is lavish and generous and open. And Jesus says all this with just one line. In one sentence, Jesus says, our God is bigger than we expected. In one sentence, Jesus says, God colors outside the lines we have created. In one sentence, Jesus says, we are all invited to a generous feast with food for everybody. Not bad. Not bad for just one line.